So just having your props close beside you just while you're lying down here. So allowing your knees to really open out to the side. With every exhale, just finding some softness somewhere in your body. Even starting at the crown of your head, softening through the face and the jaw. Letting your shoulders melt down towards the mat, taking whatever little movements and fidgets you need to take in order to really let the body just relax. With your hands on your tummy and your chest, just breathing into your hands here. And imagining you just got some heavy weights just the inside of your knees, so letting those knees really drop down to the side. And just cultivating a slightly deeper breath. And knowing that that breath is there for you at any time during your practice. So if there's any times in which you feel your breath starting to restrict a little bit as we're in a more challenging pose, just try to bring it back to this nice rhythm that you're creating with it now. And before we move into practice, just listen to what your body's telling you today. What does it need from this practice? Or even what does your mind need from this practice? Knowing that this practice is for you and just you. And then you can use your hands just to guide your feet back through to center, placing your feet onto the mat here. And we're going to hug our right knee in towards our shoulder and just hugging our knee in. So pulling your knee towards your shoulders, not towards your chest. So we're kind of opening out to the side here. And then just placing your hand on your knee, you're just going to start making little circles with your knee here. They can start little and then you can gradually make them bigger. And if you feel you are a little more open today in the hips, you're welcome to straighten out that left leg. And then change direction again. Just really starting to work into the hips and moving them in all directions. And just finding stillness, and then you're just going to reach your right leg up to the ceiling, flexing your toes towards you. And then straightening your toes again. So we're just going to bend and flex our toes just so we start to open up through our calves and open up through our feet. And then grabbing your belt, you're just going to loop the belt over your arch of your foot. So if you have your left leg straightened, you might just need to rebend it just to find your balance here. Just looping it over the arch of your foot, one side of the belt in each hand here. And pushing the heel up towards the ceiling. And then an exhale, it might be a subtle movement, just let that knee come towards your chest. And you can still have a slight bend in that right leg, that's absolutely fine. And you don't want to be pulling down your foot here, the belt is just there to guide your leg. Again, if you have that left leg bent, you're welcome to straighten it. Just breathing into your hamstrings. And then taking both bits of the belt into your right hand, bringing our leg back through the center, so you bring it close towards your chest, that your leg is at a 90-degree angle, and then on exhale, just dropping that leg out towards the right hand side, so you start to feel a nice opening from the groin out to our big toe. And your leg might only move a couple of inches for you to feel that, and that's absolutely fine. Again, just using that strap to support your leg here. Trying to keep your foot at the same level as your hip. And keep flexing into your foot as well. And then in your next inhale, not using the belt to pull you up, using the muscles in your legs to pull that leg back through to center, and then just taking the strap off your foot and just dropping it to the side. And then we're just going to bring our knee back in towards our shoulder, and we're just going to do some circles with our ankles here. So keep spreading your toes out really wide, so really active through our feet. And then changing directions. And if there's any sticky points here, so you feel like you need to go over it a couple of times, you're welcome to. Like I said, it's your practice, so just do whatever feels right in your body. And then just bending our left leg, placing our left foot onto the mat. We're going to cross our right ankle just above our left knee, so our legs are in a figure 4 shape. Letting that right knee drop down towards the mat. So we're opening into our right hip here. And you're welcome to stay here. If you want, you can pick up your left foot, bringing that left knee in towards your chest, and then just looping your hands through and grabbing behind your left thigh. And keeping your feet really active here, so flexing your toes back towards your knees, spreading your toes out. We talk a lot in yoga about squaring off our hips, and this action to square off our hips is this idea of our front leg coming back and our back leg coming forward. So in this position, you want to think about your left knee coming back towards your chest and your right knee opening to the front. Having our hips nice and square gives us that balance in all our lunges and our standing splits and things. So keeping those feet nice and active. And keeping that resistance with the right knee coming forward, left knee coming back. Taking one more breath here. And then exhale, bringing your left foot down to the mat, uncurling your right foot so your right foot comes down to the mat. And then swapping up, so we're getting into our left hip now. So bringing our left knee in towards our shoulder, so we're opening it up to the side. We're not crunching it in towards our tummy. Just pulling that in. Again, you're welcome to straighten that right leg at any point if you wish. Placing our hand just on top of our knee and just starting to get some movement into our hip here. So just starting to make little circles. And then you can change direction. You can increase those circles a little bit bigger. And just like we did with our feet, if you have any sticky points you want to go back and forth, you can. Just getting a bit of mobility into the hips this morning. And then flexing our left foot up towards the sky. We're just going to do that same action of bringing our toes towards our knee and then pushing our feet away. Pushing our toes away into a nice pointed toe. So flexing them down and then reaching them away. So get a nice stretch in our calf muscle and into our heel. And then taking your belt, which shouldn't be too far away, looping it over the arch of your foot and then reaching out. So keep that action of your heel is coming up towards the sky here. Hands either side of the belt, grounding those hips down. And then on an exhale, just maybe moving that leg slightly towards your face. And if in this movement it means your hips lift off the ground, just ease out of it slightly. So your hips should be nice and flat. And just having a tiny bend in your knees, so you're not completely locking out your leg here. If you lock out your leg, it gets more of a nerval kind of stretch. We don't really want that. Sending the breath all along the back edge of your leg. And maybe you can slowly feel the back of the leg start to open. And then bringing your straps, both sides of your strap, into your left hand. You can just bring your right hand down to the mat, or an exhale, bringing our left foot out to the left hand side, keeping that foot in line with your hip and keeping that nice flexion in our foot. And just seeing if you're holding on to any tension in that left leg. If you're gripping onto your knee, just relax that and you might soften your leg down a little bit more. Taking one more breath here. And then exhale, using your leg, pulling it back through the center. And then just popping your belt just off to the side. We won't need to use it again. And then bringing your left knee in towards your chest. We're just going to do those circles with our ankles again, keeping our toes nice and wide. We want to get into all those little bits and all the bits in our feet here, so the front and the bottom. And then crossing that left ankle just above the right knee, letting the left knee drop down. Just taking a moment here, see how your hip's feeling, and if you want to increase the stretch in your hip, just picking up that right knee so that the right knee's coming towards your chest, looping your feet behind your thigh. And then keeping that action of the right knee coming in, left knee going forward, feet nice and active. Keeping that nice breath with you. So if you are in this posture and you do feel that your breath is becoming a little bit restricted, sending that breath where you need it. And then your next exhale, just bringing your both feet down towards the mat. We're just going to drop both our knees out to the right hand side. And then bringing them through the center and then dropping them both to the left hand side. And then back through the center. And then both feet are now going to come up towards the sky, flex your toes, and then let your knees drop down to your armpits, and then just grabbing the outside edges of your feet or grabbing behind your thighs, coming into a happy baby pose here. So you want to think in your happy baby pose that your tailbone and your knees are like the 3 points of a triangle, and those 3 points are trying to move away from each other. So tailbone's moving away from your knees, so grounding down into the ground, into the mat. Your knees are moving away from each other. Soles of your feet up towards the sky. And we're going to be doing this pose again at the end of class, so maybe quickly doing a little memory stamp. How does this pose feel right now? And then we'll be able to compare it at the end of class. And then just slowly releasing your feet, bringing your knees in towards your chest, and just doing a couple of rocks and rolls along your spine to bring yourself forward. And then we're just going to cross over our ankles, and we're just going to come to sit on our knees here. So we're going to come into a broken toe pose, just so we can really stretch into the bottom of our feet here. So you're going to rise up off your feet, tucking your toes underneath you, and then just using your hand to make sure that all 10 toes are on the floor. Usually the little pinky toe doesn't really want to be involved, so making sure he's involved there. And just to start, we're just going to bring our hands just in front of our knees here, making sure you can really ground down into your feet. And then we're going to walk our hands just up our thighs so our bum comes to rest on our heels. And this is a pose where you really need to tap into your breath. Feeling all the little tiny bits of tissue in the sole of your feet start to open. If this gets intense at any point, just bring yourself forward again. If you do run a lot, quite often your feet can really take it. So this is a great pose to make sure your whole sole of your foot really starts to open. Taking one more breath here. And then exhale, bringing your hands back down to the mat, scrunching up, and even just tap your toes onto the ground, just so you can really open that up. And then you should be on your all fours here. So spreading your fingers nice and wide, your hands are going to be directly underneath your shoulders. We're going to tuck our toes, we're not coming into broken toes, don't worry. Tuck your toes, push the ground away, so we're really rounding through our back. Let your hips drop down towards your heels, picking up your knees, straighten your legs, and coming into your down dog. And start to maybe pedal the feet out a little bit, so as you lift one heel up, the other heel comes down, so you're stretching into your calf muscles here. And keeping that action of your tailbone shining up towards the sky, while your chest drops down towards the mat. And keeping a bend in your knees, just finding stillness for a couple of breaths here. So really think about pushing your hands forward, keeping your shoulders away from your ears, lengthening out through your spine. And you're just going to pick up your right foot and just set it a couple of inches forward. And then we're going to turn our right toe so that we come into a warrior one back foot stance. So your right big toe is going to point towards 2 o'clock, and you're going to bring your right foot flat onto the ground. And in order to do that, you probably need a deep bend in your left leg. And then we're going to slowly start to push into that right leg, just so we can feel a nice stretch on the outside of our right calf here. And maybe if you want to, pushing into that right leg so much you start to twist slightly over to the left. Staying for one more inhale. And then exhale, bringing that right foot back to meet your left foot in your downward facing dog. Then inhale, sweep that right leg up behind you, bringing your right heel in towards your bum, and then opening your right knee out to the sides. You're opening your right hip here. Taking inhale here, and then exhale, bringing that right knee in towards your chest, placing your right foot onto the mat. And we're coming into a runner's lunge here. So up on their fingertips, pushing out through our left foot. And this action, like I said at the start, of our right hip coming back, left hip coming forward. And then we're going to push so much into our right leg, we start to rise up into our high crescent lunge. Think about dragging your right heel back, and that'll lighten up your legs. Squeezing those outer hips in. Then you're going to bring your left hand just to the small of your back, reaching out through that right hand, and then exhale, let that left hand run down the back of your left leg, coming into reverse lunge. So really opening into that left hip flexor. And inhale through the center, just placing your hands onto your hips, straightening that right leg out so you're really high in the ball of your left leg, a little bit wiggly. And then we're going to fold over that front leg, coming into our triangle. So if you want, you can grab your block and just place it behind your right leg here. So really high in the ball of that left foot. So if you're wearing a high heel, right leg straighten, and folding over that right leg. And if you had your block, just placing over to the side. Deep bend to that left knee, so we bring our left knee all the way down to the earth. We're going to walk our right leg forward, so our right leg comes straight again. We're coming into half splits. So left hip directly above the left knee. We're pulling the toes of our right foot back and having a slight bend in that right leg as we fold forward. Just a slight variation in the triangle that we just did. Taking one more breath here. Then exhale, rolling forward onto that right foot, picking up our back foot, and then stepping forward into our forward fold. Just hanging here for a couple of seconds. So even clasping your hands and placing them in the back of your skull, and just swinging from side to side. And exhale to release. And then just grabbing your block or your book, just placing it underneath your face, just so you can really grind down through your hands here. We're going to do some feet rolls. So on an inhale, you're going to roll your weight forward, so you're coming up onto your tippy toes. Then exhale to roll it back all the way so that you're on your heels and your toes lift. So inhale to roll it forward, coming up onto your tippy toes. Then exhale to roll it all the way back, shifting your weight all into your heels, picking your toes up. One more time like that. Inhale, lift it up, get strength in your ankles. Then exhale, roll it back, lifting your toes up. And then bringing your feet flat onto the earth, placing your block over to the side. We're just going to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, hands in your shins, shoulders in line with your hips. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, coming back down into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, placing our hands onto the mat, stepping back into our plank. Pushing through our heels, pushing through our hands. Pubic bone up towards our sternum. You can stay here or you can drop down to your knees. Inhale, shoulder to your wrist. Exhale, lower it all the way down. Chaturanga, untuck your toes. Inhale into your cobra, rotating your chin and your chest forward. And exhale down. We're just going to do 2 more cobras. Inhale, roll your chin and your chest forward. Squeeze your elbows together. And exhale down. One more time, rolling forward, grinding down to the tops of your feet. And exhale down. Pushing up into all fours. And again, you can take that action of puffing up your shoulder blades, dropping your bum down and picking up into your down dog. This time we're going to place our left foot just slightly in front of our right foot, turning our back foot so it's like a warrior 1 left foot. So big toe to 10 o'clock. Deep bend in your right leg, and as you bend into your right leg, you can start to straighten out your left leg. So a really interesting stretch along the outside of your left leg here. I've been doing some practices this week with Alice Gray, who's one of my teachers, and she introduced me to this pose this week. You can really feel it from your heel all the way up your leg. Taking one more breath here, and then exhale, returning back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that left leg up, bringing your heel in towards your bum and opening your knee out towards the side, opening your hip up. Inhale here, and then exhale, knee in towards your chest, placing your left foot in between your hands. Just coming to a runner's lunge for a breath or 2 here. So really thinking about that grounding down through your feet, creating a stable base before we move anywhere. So pushing that left foot into the ground, pushing through the ball of the heel of your right foot, squeezing the outer hips in, and then once you feel stable, inhaling up into your high crescent lunge, making sure your tailbone is tucked nice and under. Bringing your right hand just to the small of your back, reaching out to that left side. On an exhale, we're just going to lean back as your right hand just runs along the back of your right leg. Just feeling in our right hip flexor. One more breath here, and inhale through the center. Just holding onto your hips to make sure that they are squaring off, then pushing into that front leg, and then folding over that front leg, coming into our triangle pose. You can grab your block again if you wish and just place it behind your calf. you could pull that left foot back, and that'll just lighten up the back of your left leg. It's a tiny, tiny, subtle movement, but it can just work into the outside of the hip a bit more. Taking one more inhale here, then removing your block, placing your hands on the ground, bending your right knee, and then just straightening that left leg. Again, you might need to move your heel, right hip directly above your right knee, coming into your half splits. So your toes are going to face directly up towards the ceiling on the left leg. Keeping a tiny bend there. Remember keeping that breath with you. You're always welcome to sigh it out. And then rolling forward, rebending that left leg, picking up your right leg and coming into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. Inhale to reach your arms up all the way through to standing. And exhale to bring your hands through to heart center. And we're just going to do those feet rolls again, but this time we're going to be standing. So on an inhale, shifting our weight forward, coming up into your tippy toes. Then exhale, dropping the heels down, lifting the toes up as best you can, keeping your balance. Then inhale, rolling forward onto your tippy toes. Exhale, rolling back, lifting your toes up as best you can. One more time, up on your toes. And then exhale. Bring it back onto your heels, try to keep your balance. And then exhale to forward fold, very good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to your mat, stepping back to plank. Really active through this posture, pushing the ground away. Magnetizing your hips up towards your shoulder blades, up towards your collarbones. Inhale, shoulders over your wrists, exhale, lowering all the way down to the mat. Untucking your toes into your cobra. Open through your chest. Then exhale, pushing back to your downward facing dog. Inhale to look to the front of your mat. And exhale, step forward into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. Stepping your left foot back. Coming into your runner's lunge again. Right leg nice and bent. With our runner's lunge, we're going to be light with our chest. We don't want to dump our chest down to this bent right leg. So keeping light in your chest here. And then exhale, dropping that knee down. Rising up into a low lunge. And then just grabbing your block and just placing your block just the inside edge of your right foot here. So just so you can plant your left hand onto it. On an inhale, you're going to pick up your left foot so that you're curling your left heel in towards your bum. And then we're going with our right hand, we're going to reach back. And if you can make contact, grabbing onto that right foot. If not, keeping that action of reaching back and that foot coming in towards your body. So we're getting a nice stretch in our left quad here, while opening through our right chest. Keeping that breath with you. And then slowly releasing that foot, bring your hands back down to the earth, picking up your back knee. Then we're going to walk our hands over to the left hand side, turning our toes in, so we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Letting your head hang heavy here. And thinking about sending our weight more into our toes than into our heels. So again, tiny subtle movement, but just allows the back of our legs to really light up. Just in this pose, we're going to inhale to halfway lift, just reaching our spine up. Exhale, fold into it. Then you're going to pick up your left heel, so you're up in your tippy toes of your left foot, and then you're going to bend into your left leg, and as you do that, you're going to bring your left hip down towards your heel. Your right leg is going to spin so that your knee is up towards the ceiling, and toes are up towards the sky, so deep bend that left foot. Again, dragging that right heel back towards your body. Then coming back into a wide-legged forward fold. Then coming down to that on the other side. So picking up right heel, dropping your right bum down towards your heels, deep bend that right leg, and as you do that, your left leg is going to want to spin so that your knees and your toes are facing up towards the ceiling. Apologies, I started on the wrong leg, so you're getting this from behind, not in front. So nice stretch all along that left leg, the inner side. Taking one more breath here. And exhale, we're going to spin all the way around to the front, so coming into our runner's lunge with our right leg bent. And then launching off that back foot, coming into our standing split. So grounding down to that right leg, lifting our waist out of the hip. And our left leg is going to come up behind us. Keeping your toes nice and active and pointing down towards the earth. And then imagining you could squeeze your legs in towards one another. Lifting from the arch of our right foot all the way up. Taking one more breath here. And then we're going to come into a twisted forward fold here with our legs. So your baby toes are essentially going to come to line up. So your left leg is going to go behind your right leg. And then you might need to pick up your right foot slightly. And then just bringing your baby toes together so your feet are kind of the wrong way around. And if you need your block here, you can grab your block to just slightly bend into that. So nice opening in the left outer hip. It can feel a little bit wiggly, so challenging your balance. And then exhale, placing your block out towards the side, just unraveling your legs, just coming into a forward fold. You're welcome to bend out either leg in this. And inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, just bringing your hands down by your side. Spin your palms forward, close down your eyes. Coming into a mountain pose. And then peeking your eyes open. Bringing your hands through the heart center, we're just going to shift our weight into our right foot. So we start to lift our left foot up. So our left knee is in line with our left hip. Feet are nice and flexed. Then we're going to come into that reclined pigeon shape. So your left ankle is going to come above your right knee. Then open your left knee out. You're welcome to stay here if this is enough. Or you can start to bend into that right knee, so your hips are going back and down as if you're coming to sit down on a sofa, and as you do that, your chest starts to come forward. So we're coming into a standing pigeon here. Just paying a little bit of attention to your shoulders, making sure they're not up around your ears. And feeling that opening in your left side. And if you fall out of it, that's absolutely fine. Just taking one more breath here. Then exhale to unwind, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep those arms all the way up. Push the ground away with your feet. And exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale, hands on your mat, stepping your right foot back. coming into your runner's lunge on the left hand side. So again, not dumping our chest down into that left leg, but keeping a deep bend in the left leg, launching out to the back foot. So our fingertips are on the ground here. And then exhale, dropping that right knee down, and then just bringing your block just so it's on the inside edge of your left foot, just so it's there, reaching up into our low lunge. So right hip forward, left hip back, squaring up them off, lifting out of the waist, having your tailbone nice and tucked under, really long through the sides of our body. Then bringing your right hand down to the block just for a little bit of balance, reaching our left hand behind us, curling our right foot up towards our bum, just like a hamstring curl. And then if you can, grabbing on to the inside edge of your right foot, so your big toe edge. So you're getting a nice stretch to your right quad and opening through that left chest. Keeping that breath with you. And gently releasing it back down, setting your block just to the top of your mat, picking up back into runner's lunge, and then turning all 10 toes now to the right hand side. Your toes are going to come in slightly, so slightly pigeon-toed, and then exhaling, folding down into our wide-legged forward fold. And then if you can, you're going to take your hands and you're going to flip so that your fingers are pointing the different direction. And then you're going to walk your hands through your legs. So just a little shoulder stretch here. And that subtle change in which you send your weight just slightly more into your toes. Then if you brought your hands back through your feet, just bring them back underneath your face. Inhale to halfway lift, so shoulders are coming in line with your hips. Exhale, folding it back down. We're going to do that Skandasana move again. So picking up onto the ball of your right foot. And as you do that, sinking your right hip down, deep bend of your right leg, and then spinning your left leg up towards the ceiling. So that action of dragging your left hip back, your knee and your toes are going to shine up towards the sky. And opening that right knee out towards the right hand side. And then coming back into our wide-legged forward fold, and then bending down towards the left. Now so our right toes come up towards the sky. Deep bend that left leg. Opening through the right leg. Keeping your chest up nice and proud here. And you can bring your hands through the heart center if you have your balance. Taking one more breath. Then exhale, walking your hands round to the front, turning on your legs. Coming into your your runner's lunge. And then just popping your back foot in a little bit, straightening into that left leg, shifting your weight forward to your right leg starts to rise, coming into your standing split. Keeping those hips nice and neutral, so toes are facing forward. Chest is bowing in towards that standing leg. And energetically pushing the ground away, so we're not sinking into that left hip. And just seeing if you can use your hamstrings in your right leg just to lift that right leg up slightly. Keeping everything engaged. And then just like we did on the other side, we're going to come into a twisted forward fold here. So you might want to bring your block just underneath your face. So on an exhale, crossing that right leg behind the left so our pinky toes are coming together to touch. And to do that, you might just need to lift up your left foot slightly, place your right foot, and then place your left foot back down. So just like if you had your hands in front of you and you changed it so your pinkies were together, that's the way we want our feet to be. So it looks a bit strange. Then if you want to bring your hand to a block and it doesn't quite reach the ground, you can. And then just folding into it. Again, it's just another way to just get a nice stretch in an area of the leg that we don't get to work on very often. So feeling an opening from our right ankle all the way up to our hip. Stay for one more breath, and then exhale to unwind out of that, and then you can just pedal your legs out while you're in your forward fold. And coming to rest, and then inhale, sweeping your arms all the way up, then bringing your hands down to your side, palm spin forward, closing down your eyes, coming into your mountain pose. So you're really grounding down to the feet, feel your quads engaged, chest is open. A really powerful pose. And slowly start to blink your eyes open, bringing your right knee up in front of you so it's in line with your left hip. Sorry, your right hip. And just making sure you're really grounding down to that left foot. If you want to even pick up your left foot and spread your toes and place them all back down again, so you've got a really solid base. Then crossing that right ankle just above that left knee, letting your right knee drop down into that pigeon shape with our legs. Making sure you're not collapsing down on one side, lifting through both sides of the waist. With your hands in the heart center, you can stay here, or starting to bend into that left leg. And slowly, the slower you go, the more you'll be able to keep your balance. Sinking your bum down. And you can even bring your elbows down to meet your leg. Keep sending that right knee down towards the ground. Your standing pigeon. Taking one more breath here, sending your bum maybe tiny bit lower. Then exhale, unravel, coming into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Then exhale, step your right leg back, dropping down to your knee, and then just heel toeing your left foot just so it's at the edge of the mat. Big toe turns to 10 o'clock. Coming into a lizard variation here. So if you want to even just move your right knee back a little bit more, you can. We're going to bring our right hand flat onto the ground. We're going to, with our left hand, just grab our right bicep. So our left elbow should be lined up with our knee. And then releasing from the bicep, just using that left elbow to push our left knee out towards the side. So just going within your own limits here. If you came down to pigeon and it felt enough for your left hip, stay there. If you want to just increase the opening, just nuzzling our elbow to the inside edge of our left thigh. And just pushing out to the side. And just grabbing onto your right bicep just to get the alignment and then releasing. And then bringing that left hand back down. Picking up your back knee, just bringing your left foot back into your plank and then bringing your left knee in behind your wrist, setting up for pigeon pose. So leg is at 45 degrees and then you want to scoot your right hip back. Taking a breath while you're up in your rise pigeon and then exhale to fold forward. We're going to bring our hands into, if you are down, bring your hands into child's pose here. And then we're just going to walk our hands over to the right hand side. Keep sinking down into your hips. We'll just increase the stretch in our left hip. Trying to keep our hips square to the ground. Keep thinking left knee back, right hip forward. Just taking 2 more breaths here. Making your breath work for you. And your next inhale, walking your hands back through to center, rising up, placing your hands onto the mat, tucking your back toe, pushing back into your plank, and and then placing your right foot to the outside edge of your right hand, dropping the back knee down, coming into lizard on the other side. So your toes are at the edge of your mat pointing to 2 o'clock. And then just getting the alignment, just having your hand kind of on your bicep just so your elbow comes into your inside of your knee, and then using that right elbow to push your right thigh out to the side. Keep your feet flat on the ground. And if you feel like you need to scoot your left hip back, you can. Just applying as much resistance to that as you need. You don't want to be pushing your leg too hard here. And as much as your elbow is on the inside of your thigh, imagine your thigh pushing back into your elbow. One more breath. And exhale, placing your hand back down, picking up your back knee, and then we're just going to bring our back leg back just to bring our hips back into alignment, and then right knee behind the right wrist, leg to 45, coming into pigeon on the other side, so rising up and then walking that left leg back. And then keeping our waist nice and long here. If you want to come into a sleeping pigeon, you're welcome to, so then exhaling down. Keeping that right hip down on the ground. And then if you want to increase the stretch, bring your hands into child's pose and then just walking those hands over to the left hand side. Allowing the weight of your body to sink down to the mat. Letting the breath wash over you. Staying here for 2 more breaths, so making each breath really count. We exhale, just sinking you a little bit more into the pose. And you're welcome to sigh out any exhales. And then your next inhale, slowly walking yourself back up if you came down to sleeping pigeon. And then just dropping to the right hand side. I'm just going to swing both our legs round to the front. Just going to turn around so you can see a bit better. And then just placing our feet on the ground, our hands just going to come behind us. We're going to pick up our right leg and then just cross our right ankle just above our right knee. So we're quite familiar with this shape now. And you're welcome to stay here, or you just start to heel toe your left foot across so it's in line with your right hip. And then as we do this, just rolling on to the pinky side edge of your left foot. Now, if at any point you feel like this is enough, you're welcome to stay here. I'm just going to talk you through the whole pose. So rolling on to the knife edge, pinky side edge of your left foot, and then letting that left knee start to drop down towards the mat. And as you do this, you just walk your hands closer to your body. Left knee's coming down. And then what you might find is your right knee might then come down to meet your left ankle. So we're coming into a fire log pose. So if you look down, you should see a perfect triangle. So our legs are stacked on top of one another. So it's a foot on top of an ankle on top of a foot. So just like my arms are. Again, if you came into that pose and just came into your pigeon legs, that's absolutely fine. Just bringing your hands behind you, just inhale to reach up. And then if you want to increase, you can just start to fold over those legs. Keep grinding both hips in towards the ground. And just sending some deep breaths into our right hip here. And if at any point you feel you need to come out of the pose and just come to a step that I showed you before, that's fine. Taking 2 more breaths in this posture. Making sure you're not holding on to tension in other areas of your body, releasing it in your face and your shoulders. And then your next inhale, slowly, if you came down the front, walking your hands, placing your hands behind you. Just like we came out, just lifting that right knee up towards you, walking your left foot back down, and then placing your right leg slowly onto the ground, and just doing a couple of little windshield wipers with your legs. And then swapping it up the other side. So left ankle above the right knee here. So just suss out this pose. How is this feeling? Is this enough? If it is, you can stay here. Or walking your right foot across so it's in line with your left hip. Again, starting to increase the opening. You're welcome to stay here. Or roll onto the knife edge, the baby toe side of your right foot. And as you do that, your right leg will start to come down to the earth. You need to walk your hands in a little bit. And even if you come here and this is enough, you can even grab your block and just even place your block down to support your leg. Or you can come even further so that right knee comes all the way down to the earth. You might need to move your left leg slightly just so that your legs can lie on top of one another. Again, you should be able to look down and you'll see a perfect triangle. Keeping your feet nice and flexed. And staying here, or you can fold over your legs. And sighing out at any time. We talk in yoga that we hold a lot of emotions in our hips. Quite often doing a lot of hip opening exercises can bring a lot of stuff up for people, so just making sure that you're really utilising your breath here. If there's any thoughts creep into your mind, just releasing them with every exhale. If it is quite intense, just knowing the intensity is there because it's what your body requires. If there is any pain, however, obviously come out of the pose. Staying for 2 more breaths here. Sinking a little tiny bit deeper if you can. And then your next inhale. Slowly walking your hands up if you came into fold, and then coming out of the pose just like we went into it. So bring your hands behind you, slowly lifting your knee up, walking that right foot back, and then taking your left leg up off. Placing your feet onto the mat, and then just windshield wipering your legs to either side. And then bringing both legs out in front of you. Picking up your right leg and just bringing your right baby toe just to the outside edge of your left knee. And then with your left hand, now usually we go into this, we go into a twist and we keep our chest really open, but this time we're going to go into more of a leg stretch. So you're going to hug that that right knee into your chest with your left arm. So really hug that round. And then we're going to start to turn, this arm. And then we're going to start to turn around to the side. So keep hugging that knee in, and that'll just open up our glutes slightly. And if you want to increase the stretch, you can just bend that left knee and bring your left foot in towards your right bum. Just lifts our hips up slightly. Keep hugging that knee in. And exhale to release it, and then just swapping it up. So both legs out in front, left baby toe to the outside of your right foot, and then hugging with our right arm that left leg in. And then if you want to increase the stretch, just bringing that right heel in towards your left bum. Keep grounding down through both hips. And then as you hug that leg in, still think about spiraling your heart up to the sky. We'll be able to go as much as we usually do in this pose just because we're sinking down into our leg. Staying for one more breath. And exhaling to unwind your legs. And then just bringing your knees in towards your chest, and then we're just going to slowly start to roll all the way down to the mat. So bringing your hands to either side, go as slow as you can. Using the tummy muscles, and then coming all the way down. And then just like we did at the start of class, I'm going to invite you to come into that happy baby again. So feet up towards the sky, knees into your shoulders, grabbing the outside edges of your feet, and then coming into your happy baby. So we spoke about how our tailbone and our two knees are like the three edges or three corners, of a triangle, and they all want to move away from each other. So our knees are pulling apart, our tailbone's going down towards the mat. And how does this pose feel compared to the start of practice? Do you feel any more open? Are there maybe less sensations now? Not as intense? Or maybe you feel the same. And if you feel the same, that's absolutely fine. And I'm just going to invite you to start to just release your breath a little bit. Just let it return to a more natural rhythm. And then slowly release your feet and bring your feet up towards the sky. Your hands are going to come up towards the sky. And keeping your wrists and your elbows, knees and ankles just really, really relaxed here. And feel your torso sinking in towards the mat. Just all that energy that you built up in class, just feeling it dissolve all through your limb. And slowly in the next couple of breaths, just letting the limbs get heavier and heavier. So they're coming down to the mat. And you're coming into your Shavasana. So walking your feet at least a mat width apart. If you want to bring them wider, you can. Palms are going to spin up towards the sky. Shoulder blades down your back. If you want to take any other little movements or even grab a blanket and put it over you, you're welcome to. Even take a couple of sighs just to really let your body relax. And then just find stillness for a couple of moments.